But let's start this evening with many small heads. Who of you has children? Who of these children are born after 2000? 2010? Did you ever ask yourself the question, how will the world look like once your children grew up? So not today, tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, but the next decades. If we're really try to imagine how our children will live in the next decades, we first have to define the time horizon we are talking about. But where do we start? Let's first have a look into the statistic. This is pure exploration, no future research. For all children born from 2010 onwards, the statistics say that your children at home have a high probability of becoming 100 years old. And now we only need simple mathematics to realize we're talking about the year 2110 to 2120. And if today in the morning I would have ambushed you with a discussion about the year 2120, you probably would think I'm crazy. But this is not crazy. And this is also no science fiction anymore. This is the reality you may look into the eye again tonight when you eat for dinner. So if you actually now want to answer the question, how will our children live in 2030, 2050, 2080, and so on? You know how we will answer this question now. We are talking to those people who, with their decision today, will influence the future much more than others. So we first talk to parents, grandparents, daycare educators, patricians, and so on. What happens if you interview these people? Right at the beginning, they state everything will get worse. Social system will collapse. We will have all poverty in the old age, and artificial intelligence will take all our jobs away. Everything will be coming bad. Only if you talk longer to them and you influence them positively, then you can agree that if we all really work together, make our best effort, make a real effort, work together really hard, then the future might look a little better. And for this little better, a future scientist will draw a slightly rising blue line. And I'm telling you this story because if you ask the same question, how will my children live 2030, 2050, 2080, and so on? And you ask technology developers or experts worldwide, yeah, most of them not in Germany, but maybe Silicon Valley, China, Israel, and so on. Then they will look at you a little bit confused and ask, David, you're dealing with the future. Why do you believe that these children will only become 100 years old? They will live 120 years, at least, maybe even 150 years. And in this time, we will solve some of the biggest problems of mankind. Hunger worldwide, drinking water worldwide, energy worldwide. We never have been technology-wise so close to solving these puzzles. And you're standing there. In this moment, you don't determine anything. You're just analyzing. And you think, this is a little bit of a different forecast. This forecast goes through the ceiling. And I would like to talk about the gap between the first line and the second line. Because in science and research, we have a name for this. It's called reality gap. This is the gap between two realities. But why do I speaking about two realities now? Is there not only one reality? The probability that here, now, in this moment, exactly in this second, there is a person thinking the blue line, the probability is quite high. And I don't know you personally, and I don't want to offend you, but the probability that here in this moment is somebody who's thinking the blue line is quite high. The probability that here in this moment is somebody who's thinking the red line is also relatively high. And maybe you're sitting next to each other, virtually next to each other. And if this is the case, then we have here and right now in this moment a reality gap. Because you think, if you're thinking about the future, you believe in different realities. And this gap, this reality gap between the first and the second line, this is the most interesting part. Because this gap is the greatest opportunity of humanity.